Welcome back, everybody, to episode 173 of the Guardian Project podcast. I'm your host, Andy, and if I were the murderer in the movie Clue, I would have done it in the gift shop with the Whip of Erebos.
Oh, okay.
Because the gift shop is now in Magic.
Yes, it is.
It's a room. The Astrotorium.
It is a real room with the Killing someone with a whip seems very difficult.
I feel like...
Would you strangle them? Or
maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were not prepared for this
no,
method
I
of
wasn't,
death.
I wasn't prepared to say how I done it. I just done it. What room would you... What weapon?
What weapon? I always go to the candlestick. I mean, it's iconic, right? It's Mr. Plum in the ballroom with the candlestick.
But in Magic.
Oh, a reaver cleaver.
Oh,
in the war room.
Oh,
with Jace.
Oh, you killed Jace.
No, Jace the one that did the killing.
Oh, Jace did the killing.
Everyone knows who dies because that's how they're trying to find out who the murderer is. But it's random who died because you play with 6 people and there's 7 character cards or something in the Clue, not in Magic. There's a lot more.
In Magic, we play with a lot of characters.
A lot of characters. And I'm your other host, Mike, and I can't wait for this next part in the Magic story where I can only presume Teferi is cooking up some amazing dish. I hear he knows his way around some time.
I don't like thyme.
No, it's okay.
If there's thyme, I substitute it for basil.
Okay, that would be a good...
I usually substitute basil or parsley. That's what I substitute thyme for.
I wonder if you are a chef and you're listening to this, can you tell me instances where that just doesn't work? Like where thyme is actually the important ingredient in the dish?
It's when you need to cast something at instant speed.
Please listen carefully.
And this is the podcast about Commander,
our favorite Magic the Gathering format. In this show, we are going to be talking about some of the Heroes of the Realm cards. This is the super special cards that Wizards of the Coast printed for some of their employees, oftentimes in appreciation for something that they've done, a production or an innovation. We're going to talk about them like they're eternal legal and see where we would play them, how we would play them, that kind of stuff. Some really fun cards to look at.
Yes, and before we do that, though, we do have some things that we got to do this past weekend, which was play Unfinity.
Yes.
And we wanted to talk about it a bit because it felt like the Twitterverse exploded and was very mad about it. But I was nice logging on today and seeing there were a lot of people who were super happy about it. Mm-hmm. And there were also a lot of people who said that their shops had pods firing nice. Crazy. They had 30 people at some stores. I know our stores had quite a few people playing Unfinity as well.
Nice.
We got to draft a box here at our house. Mm-hmm. And we learned that the ability stickers and the power and toughness stickers are where we wanted to play, both of us.
Bonkers good.
Yeah, mostly the power and toughness stickers.
Yeah, it's there's a dice rolling theme, an attractions theme, a stickers theme, and a tokens theme, and maybe there's 1 or 2 other draft archetypes.
There was hat themes, there were some art themes. Yeah, there were a bunch, but it happened to be that. But we drafted twice.
Yeah. And
the green-white deck in both of the drafts, which were different, crushed.
Yeah.
Went undefeated.
Yeah. And that was because you can get a 7 power sticker on turn 3, almost consistently in green. Green's really good for stickers.
Yeah. So I did green-white the second time, and every single rare that was in green and white, and honestly, I think also in colorless, were just passed to me. Mm-hmm. So I got to play with, I think there were 8 rares in my draft.
I know for both of our drafts, I drafted a legendary creature in the first pack and decided that's what I was going to draft for the rest of the draft. The first one was Rakdos dice rolling with the Minotaur.
Yeah, I forget what his name is. Magar?
Something of strings. He plays with the strings. He's a puppeteer.
Yeah. Reminds me of Mojo Jojo from the Powerpuff Girls.
And in the second one, I drafted Ambassador Blorpity Blorp Boop for a green-blue stickers theme. So yeah, there was 3 or 4 people trying to play green in the second time we played, and so it was tough getting cards in that draft. But in the first time,
the second time, I was the only person playing green.
I was playing green-blue the second time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I think there was someone else playing green as well.
Oh, well, then I got everywhere before everyone.
Yeah,
I must have been in the right spot.
I had no idea that Ambassador Blorpy Blorp Boop was an uncommon and not a rare, because I took that one right off the top. I like that. Three tickets on the ETB. It's really good for the draft format.
So Unfinity was great. I will say the Galaxy foiling is
very
I
pretty.
think my favorite foiling, and it was funny, someone pointed out to me in the Discord that it's probably because it's like the original Pokemon card foiling. And when I think about it, it's like exactly that.
Yeah,
and they're great, and not a single one of those cards is curled.
That's
not
true.
Any of them, and none of them are in sleeves.
Yeah,
I should put them in sleeves. I just gestured over to have Mike look at them. There's nothing curled about them, but I opened up some collector's boosters, and I would do it again. But we're looking to start streaming some box openings eventually. So we've got all the overlays for OBS now. So look for that in the future.
Speaking of stream, we also streamed some Unfinity decks.
Yes, so check that out. It's on YouTube now.
It is. Yeah, we uploaded on Sunday. So if you want to check out our game of Unfinity, where I played a fully Eternal Legal Myra deck, which you'll be seeing again in the future.
Yeah, we had Andy Bentley on, who played the Most Dangerous Gamer, and that was also an attractions deck. And we had Alan from Mental Misplay. Ramp Gang was on, and he played It Came from Planet Glurg.
Yep.
And then I played Claire de Lune, so it was 2 Eternal Legal decks and 2 Unfinity Acorn non-legal decks that we were able to make function.
They all went nuts either way. And that's not an Acorn joke. I know I've been saying the word nuts a lot lately, but they all went crazy.
Sure.
Eternal
it's like
or
you
not
say
eternal.
You've been saying nuts like I've been saying sure for the last 3 years.
We'll fix it eventually,
we
right?
We will. Now we have a couple of announcements. The first is that this happened. We recorded early our Infinity episode. So we would have talked about this on our episode last week, but it came out just after we had recorded, which was talking about the celebration for 30 years of Magic, which is coming with the 30th anniversary edition that really just includes, like, I think it's 597 cards that are being printed with a non-standard Magic Standard back that you can buy for $999. You can have a chance at opening the Power 9, essentially playtest cards or proxies. They're non-standard legal, but still very cool nonetheless. Not something I'm going to buy. There was a simulator that was online, so you could simulate opening the packs. And the first time I opened up a Mox Sapphire in my first try, and that was cool with 2 duels. And I said, I mean, if that had happened in real life, great. But if anybody ever wanted to play these against me, of course, I have a zero problem with that. But it is quite a chunk of money for a chance to open something that's not legal. So that was my thought. I've had a full week to digest this, and I'm not interested in it.
No,
that's just me.
If it was at a more affordable price, it would definitely be a lot of fun to buy some and crack some. But just to go against your point, Andy, I would not sit across from someone with a Mox Sapphire and allow them to use it in their commander deck. That is a banned card.
Yeah, I mean, so is Black Lotus. So
I would also not allow them to use that card.
But if you open up duels, I guess, or any of the other cards, like a non-standard backed Llanowar Elves.
Time Walk is legal in Commander. That's part of it. That's the 1 Power 9 piece that's legal in Commander.
Okay, well, if you open that one, you can play it against me. That's right. Totally fine.
Take some extra turns. We also have the arrival of Transformers in the Brothers War. So there's more than meets the eye as Transformers cards arrived in Magic the Gathering's Universes Beyond in 2 stunning looks. When Magic the Gathering next set, the Brothers War releases November 18th in 2022. 18th, yeah, it's right around the corner already.
I cannot with this.
At least it's October right now. Like, it's a month away from the release.
It's more than a month at least for the time we're recording.
So yeah, who knows? But it's kind of does feel a little overwhelming to have this other IP kind of, in my opinion, randomly slotted in. Yeah,
but we're getting two versions of them, right? They're all double face cards. They're characters from the early 90s. I'm sorry, not even 90s, 80s, 80s television show, and they are going to have a Shattered Glass reimagining, which is like an alternate universe of them, where the heroes are the villains and the villains are the heroes. You can get these in regular packs. And it does specifically, the announcement says that there will not be a shattered glass treatment of the card RC Sharpshooter and RC Acrobatic Coupe. So that one will not have a special treatment. And
Okay.
I think that's I think that's the Boros one.
The Acri Sharpshooter is the
Is that
Boros
pronounced
one.
Acri?
Or
It's not RC,
No,
like
it's probably
like
RC,
a like remote
car.
controlled.
Hold on, let me look at the back of this, and oh no, it's just a car, so it could be. It's probably RC.
I was like,
It probably is. I'm just bad at reading.
yeah, I mean, and also Magic card names. There are plenty of content creators who do not pronounce these words correctly
That's
because
true.
they're all made of RC. Yeah, RC Sharpshooter. It is the Boros one that deals with +1/+1 counters and then flipping back and forth. So we are not getting an extra version of that card.
But that's okay.
But that is okay.
Are you excited for these? Have you looked through them to see if you're going to include them anywhere?
There are a lot of text, honestly. I haven't looked at them yet. I don't have a vehicles deck. I was thinking about putting together actually Captain Rex Nebula, but this is just a different,
That's
I
true.
guess, version of vehicles. And then
Mhm.
we've already had some red-white vehicles. We'll actually talk about a red vehicle today.
Oh, we are.
I don't know. Are you? I didn't even watch Transformers. I don't know anything. I didn't even watch the movies with Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, I did watch all of the movies.
What are we on? Are we like Transformers 7?
Uh,
There were at least 5, right?
I want to say that there was 4, but maybe we are at. Maybe we have done 5 now. I mean, I'm a sucker for a good action movie and bad action movie, which is why I like Transformers, because all action movies are okay.
I know Bumblebee is a character because of commercials and memes.
I did watch some of the cartoons as a kid. I don't know what series. They had the mini bots in them, which seems to be a similar series, or maybe mini bots are a common thing from series to series. So some of these like tokens that Soundwave gets to make and stuff are I recognize those parts of it. But one notable thing, there is some Unfinity cards that care about robots. And this is a good printing of robots that we are getting into Eternal Legal Magic. So still
There were
not
some
great.
Eternal Legal robots. I know at least
There are
the
some.
red-white creature that's a legendary is not.
Right.
That the robot lord.
hmm
But we've got robot lords because we've got creatures that are like constructs and stuff.
Well, that's
Or
true.
kind of.
Well, but this
Kind
is
of
specifically,
This is specifically
a robot.
robots.
Yeah. So, I mean, you still have to get like volunteers and performers, which are not typically printed in Eternal Legal formats. But with the printing of robots, I'm sure we'll get there.
I don't know if we've ever seen those anywhere else.
Maybe
But we
not.
also have to thank Josh Bronco for becoming a patron this past week.
Thank
Welcome. Welcome to the project. And also, speaking of patrons, we are going to be creating some patron-only podcasts that we're going to deliver alongside our regularly scheduled programming. We've been chatting about what everybody wanted to hear about in the Patron Lounge and our Discord. So if you're not in there and you want to be in there, you can join our Patreon and you'll get access to that channel. We're thinking about, maybe 10-minute, easily digestible episodes that are just really more content that we wanted to cover on this show, but we couldn't cover. Maybe fun segments like a hot or a not,
Mhm.
deck techs, individual card discussion. Honestly, it's really anything that we want to talk about that we couldn't really fit anywhere else. We've done segments in the past. We did we used to do Commander of the Week, things like
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Maybe even doing, some random Scryfall, stuff and picking a card and figuring out what it does best and where we'd play it, things like that. So stay tuned. We're likely going to have that starting at the end of this month. It won't be every week, but that is the plan. That will be right on Patreon. And we want to thank everybody who listens to our show every week, especially our patrons, who will be getting more content really soon. So if you want to support us, you can head to patreon.com/guardianprojectpod and donate for any dollar amount.
And if you're looking for another way to support the podcast or an additional way to support the podcast, whatever platform you are currently enjoying the podcast on now, if you could subscribe, rate, review, hit the bell icon if you're on YouTube, hit the thumbs up also if you're on YouTube, and I imagine most other podcast platforms are using that thumb up now. But leave some comments too. We'd love to hear your feedback, anything that you liked or didn't like in the episode. Correct us if we make a mistake. We do make some. So we can also find us online on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, anywhere that you can search up Guardian Project Podcast, and you can email us at guardianprojectpod@gmail.com.
All right, let's go check out some of these heroes. All right, so these cards have been released since 2017, so we're going to talk about each card and talk about what we do with them if we were ever to get our hands on them. And before we start, while these are not legal in Commander for us personally, and they are probably priceless, Sheldon Menery has said in a tweet from 2019 that if the person's name is on the card that it was given to, they can play it in their decks. This account, this will account for people trying to change their name, which I think is super funny. If you wanted to legally change your name to play a card, you cannot do so. But there are 20 cards. We're going to talk real quick about each one just for a little bit here on what we would do if we could. The first one is Champions of Archery, which is a legendary human archer for 3 and a red. And it says reach, commanders you control get +X+O, where X is the number of commanders you control. But it is also an adventure card, a storybook card. So the sorcery for the adventure is 2 and a red for join the group. You may put a legendary creature card from your hand into the command zone. It is also your commander. So you get to promote, and this is not the only card that will like promote a creature to a commander. But I think if I were playing with this card, I would play it in the 99. Definitely not in the command zone, so I can have options to put whatever I want into the command zone. Sure. I'm thinking maybe a 3-color deck with legendary creatures. The first spell is only 3 mana, the actual adventure. So you can do it as early as turn 2 with the Soul Ring. It's probably easier to do it with mono red, but I don't.
Well, you have to search it up in your 5-color deck or whatever you're gonna slot it in terms of instead of in mono red. Well, if you're playing all legendary
creatures, you're gonna put whatever from your hand in there. So I'd probably choose a bunch that I'd be fine with any of them going to the command zone.
That's maybe you want to play. I know I mentioned it in a card we'll talk about later, but Sisay Weatherlight Captain. Sisay, the 5-color Sisay from Modern Horizons. That way you can just tutor it up and then start putting things in the command zone.
Modern Horizons?
The first Modern Horizons. Yeah. The 5-color Sisay. Not Sisay. So there's Sisay Weatherlight Captain and Sisay green white Sisay, original Sisay.
Yeah, I thought she was. Wow, I can't even believe it. She is from Modern Horizons. Yeah, that one we will talk about later.
Yeah, so if you could tutor it up or something, but yeah, I mean, mono red is supported enough in legendary creatures where you could do it in mono red. It would be tougher, but you could also, something I just kind of thought of. It doesn't say creatures or commanders you own and control, just commanders you control. So you could steal your opponent's commanders and get some extra benefit.
Can you? You can only do it from your hand though, so you'd have to put their commander in your hand.
But it just says command. So just the creature itself says commanders you control get +X+O, where X is the number of commanders you control.
Yes.
So steal your opponent's commanders in red, which is definitely something red does often.
100%.
And you can get it done.
Active trees in those.
That's right. So the next card we have on here is again red. This one's a Planeswalker. It's called Chandra Gremlin Wrangler. For 2 red, you get a Chandra Planeswalker that starts with 3 loyalty. It has a +1 ability to create a 2/2 red Gremlin creature token, and a -2 to have Chandra Gremlin Wrangler deal X damage to target creature or player, where X is the number of gremlins you control. You got a gremlin deck that you're slotting this into?
No, there's only 10 gremlins in the game, and 2 of them are in black. Okay. I think one of them has Infect, and they're like 1/1s or something. Honestly, if I were doing this, I know it seems boring. It would just be a Changelings deck. Oh yeah, I would just play this in like a lot of people refer to the deck as tribal, where everything is just a tribal card. Yep. I'd play this in tribal,
and it would work. The only other card I could think of is Release the Gremlins to destroy artifacts. And
I think that's the only gremlin card anyone knows, because some of the gremlins care about energy from Kaladesh, and I certainly do not care about energy. Yeah. I mean, Aether Hub and 2 gremlins. You've got 3 in your deck. Yeah, I don't.
it's if energy wasn't in Sultai, I didn't pay attention to it because it got banned in Teamer when I played in Standard. So no worries there.
It did. The next card is Collecticle, a 1/1 creature bird, also an adventure. So for the adventure side, it says only the best. For 1 and a white, return target booster fun card from your graveyard to your hand. And then the creature side is a 1/1 bird for 2 and a white. Flying, protection from commanders, and whenever Collecticle attacks, reveal the top card of your library. If it is a booster fun card, you may put it into your hand. So booster fun cards are cards that have unique frames that come specifically from collector's boosters, like extended art cards, borderless cards, showcase cards. So you've got borderless, like the borderless planeswalkers that came in the mythic editions. You've got the special frame cards, like it's like the story. I think they call it the storybook frame in Eldraine. That looks like, for those. Yeah, I mean, each set has one now at this point. AFR has the rule book, the D&D rule book frames. Yep. So those are those cards. I think if I were playing this, I would put it into a Super Friends deck with all the borderless planeswalkers, using all of them from the 3 Mythic editions, and then we just keep getting special versions of these. We just got that new Liliana, so another I don't really play my Super Friends deck that often, right? So this would be fun though, because you get to return them consistently.
Yeah, it would be very, I know every rare in every set in the Commander decks is printed at widescreen for the most part.
Widescreen is my least favorite. It's like the extended border.
Yeah,
they were just like, let's stretch this artwork to the border.
That's what it's not really extended border, right? It's just a stretched picture. But I think just I'm sure I have a deck where I can just replace all of my rares with the widescreen rares in it, and it fits in perfectly fine. I don't know what deck that is, but I'm sure it exists. Next card we have on here is Diabolical Salvation. I actually really like this card. It is a little expensive, but it's an instant. So for 2 red, you get an instant with Split Second.
Yes.
What a good keyword. I've turned around on that one. You get to create 4/4 Red Devil creature tokens with haste. And when this creature dies, create a colorless treasure artifact token with tap. Sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana of any color. Sacrifice the devil tokens at the beginning of the next end step. 16
power for 6 mana, Split Second.
It seems pretty good, right? That also replaces themselves with treasure.
Yeah, and they're good for blocking if you needed to block. They're also good for attacking. You actually have a deck that cares about devils, right? The red, I don't know if you still have it together, but the red
Zerzoth Chaos Rider.
That'd be kind of cool though.
It would work perfectly well. You can get it out on anyone's turn, like you said, to do blocks and stuff. Personally, I think I would stick this in my Aluna Polymorph deck, which has has a token sub theme. And if you do have a token doubler out, you'll get 8 devils instead of 4, and then when they die, you'll get 16 treasures instead of 4. So seems like a pretty good combination there.
Mine is not as fun. Mine is just putting it into one of my numerous decks with Perforos and like Impact Tremor type effects. It just works there.
Mine produces 16 mana. Yours wins the game. I don't know. You might want yours more.
Okay, Dungeon Master is a Planeswalker for 2 white and a blue, and it has loyalty of 1d4 plus 1. So you're going to roll a d4 and then add 1 to that. And it has +1. Target opponent creates a 1/1 black skeleton creature with, when this creature dies, each opponent loses 2 life. And then a +1 of roll a d20. If you roll a 1, skip your next turn. If you roll a 12 or higher, you draw a card. And then a -6 of you get an adventuring party. Your party is a 3/3 red fighter with first strike, a 1/1 white cleric with lifelink, a 2/2 black rogue with hexproof, and a 1/1 blue wizard with flying. It's a fun card. I don't have a dice rolling deck, but I honestly think that I would put this into something like Zedru. I don't have my Zedru deck anymore, but this feels like a group hug card, but it's really not. But I'd put it in Zedru, and then I give you some really cool zombies. But then I run Ghostly Prison and Propaganda, so you're not going to swing at me with them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But I can continue to give you fun things like skeletons, and then also like really nasty things too that are going to make it harder for you to play.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure it's
fine. But I mean, I'm gifting it to you.
Yeah, you're giving me the enchantment that I can't pay at my upkeep to lose 40 life or whatever it is.
Yeah, Illusions of Grandeur, I think. I mean, one of them.
How nice.
It's fine.
I don't know. I definitely don't have a deck that this goes into currently. I really wish this would fit in the colors that I've chosen for my dice rolling decks, because any opportunity to roll more dice is always good in a dice rolling deck. I think the synergy might be interesting with like an Elish Norn type effect that has a constant minus anthem to your opponent's creatures, so that you can give them the skeleton and it dies right away.
State-based effects, it dies, and then you and 2 of your opponents gain 2 life.
Yeah, I mean, it's not super great synergy, and it involves, having an Elish Norn and then activating your Dungeon Master. So it's like the combo maybe is a little bit more towards the Elish Norn part. But Dungeon Master is I will say, at the very least, it's an interesting card.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's the Planeswalker type is actually Dungeon Master as well.
Oh, so
different Planeswalker name.
All right, we got our first land on this list, and this is Euroacus. I think I pronounced that right, and I hope I did. Oh, this is not a land. This is a creature. I thought this was a land.
It surprisingly looks like a land.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a creature. For 4 green, you get a legendary creature, Tree Folk Wizard 6/6. It says when Euroacus enters the battlefield, create a number of 1/1 blue human wizard creature tokens equal to the number of differently named lands you control. Then for 4, a green and a blue, you can draw a card for each wizard you control. They each get +1/+1 until end of turn for each card in your hand. So I don't think wizards are super well supported in the color green, but they definitely are in the color blue. So if you want to try out a green-blue wizards deck, this would be a really good commander for that.
I actually think you could probably make this very good in like Adrix and Nev Twin Casters because they are blue-green and a wizard, and they're also token doublers. So you're going to double these tokens that come from it. I think that's like the perfect deck for this.
You might have to build around it a bit. It does care about differently named lands, but as we know, even in the CEDH community, there's some cards that care about differently named cards like Tainted Pact and Hermit Druid and that kind of stuff. You can build a deck very easily with only one copy of
in the non-CEDH community. I play Hermit Druid, and I don't care about those either. I don't think those are very competitive, honestly. I don't think it's a necessary evil.
Oh no, it's definitely not a necessary, but those are I'm just comparing the strategy of, being able to build a 2-color mana base without a single repeating land is very possible.
Yeah, you just put in a bunch of colorless lands too.
Yeah, or there's a bunch of rainbow lands you can shove in there. Yeah, your utility colorless lands.
As long as I guess in my instance, I'm only running a 2-color deck, so I'd probably just be stuck with.
I think you can still.
With the rainbow, they just can't, I guess, have the mana symbols, right?
Right. Yeah, so I think it's still possible because I think there's some Gitrog lists out there and stuff that run fully unique lands. They're running like every fetch land that there is, but it's an expensive mana base. Don't get me wrong. But
it's going to be an expensive deck. We actually do have our first land on this list, which is Fabled Path of 0 Point, a legendary land. It is a mountain, and it has pay white, blue, black, or green. Tap it. Creatures you control gain landwalk until the end of turn. So. I don't run a 5-color creature-based deck. If I were, maybe a dragon deck or something. I've been talking about that for a really long time and haven't pulled the trigger on it. But I have the cool Tiamat from the Beetle and Grimm's set, so it's a great card. Yeah,
Wooburg for Landwalk is not technically unblockable, but that's only if someone doesn't control lands. That it wouldn't be an unblockable creature.
If you were playing against somebody and they didn't have lands, I would feel bad that you were removing their lands.
Yeah, right. There is some extra upside. As you mentioned, Andy, Fabled Path being a mountain, you can search it up with like a Farseek or a fetch land that can search a mountain or something. So
yes, it is in fact a mountain that works with Valakut.
It does work with Valakut.
There's a lot of things you could do with this one. Yeah. I like it.
All right, so this next one I think tops the list for me for like the most bonkers cards on this whole list for me personally, and this is a Planeswalker. And Zerva, Master of Insights. For 1, either 2 in a blue or either 2 in a red for the mana pips. You get a 4 loyalty legendary Planeswalker in Zerva with 3 activated abilities, a +2 to draw 2 cards, then discard a card, a -2 to look at the top 2 cards of each other player's library, then put any number of them on the bottom of their library and the rest on the top in any order, and you get to scry 2. And then for a -4, you get an emblem with your opponents play with their hands revealed. That's the card Telepathy. And whenever an opponent draws a card, this emblem deals 1 damage to them. That's Nekusar. So you get for -4, which this Planeswalker enters with 4 loyalty. So immediately you can get a Telepathy /Nekusar emblem that's impossible to remove. And if you have any sort of way of like looping in Zerva from your graveyard to the battlefield, seeing as it is 3 mana value, 3 mana value card, you can return it with like a Sun Titan. You can return it with there's a black-white mutate creature I was looking at today that when it mutates can return a cost with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. There's a lot of ways that you can easily recur this and put many of these emblems on the battlefield and then go to town.
Yeah, I'm going to put this in the Locust God if I were ever to be able to do this and play with this. I run Dak Faden in there, and Dak Faden is the same mana cost essentially because I'm never going to be doing this for 5 colorless. I'll do it for the actual 1 red blue. And Dak Faden has a +1 of draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards. This one's draw 2 cards and discard 1. So it's just strictly better. And then I'm already running a wheels deck, so the emblem here just becomes another win con. So if I don't need to draw and I'm holding a Windfall and something else, and maybe the one that Echo of Aeons is in my graveyard or Memory is in my graveyard, this is it's very good.
It's so good.
It's probably I agree, it's one of the best of these cards for sure. The next is Keeper of the Secret Lair, a 2/1 legendary creature merfolk rogue for 1 and a blue. It has flash, and you may cast Secret Lair spells as though they had flash. And Secret Lair spells you cast cost 1 colorless, less to cast. So I just played on a stream the other night with Chase, Mana Curves, and they were playing a Secret Lair deck with Sisay Weatherlight Captain, the 5 color, because they have the left-handed Secret Lair had that 5 color commander, and they just had only Secret Lair cards, and the whole stream and talking before it, they were like, I hope this isn't a trash deck that does nothing. And it wasn't. It started doing things, and once they got enough out on the board, it was starting to get really scary. So I would play this in there because we have so many Secret Lair cards that continue to come out.
Yeah, and that Sisay can immediately search for things with 2 mana value because it has 2 power. Sisay, so you can search for Keeper of the Secret Lair.
Yeah, because it
right
is
away.
Legendary.
Yeah, as soon as it enters the battlefield. I don't know how well a mono blue Secret Lair's deck would be. I don't know how well supported it is.
I have no idea, but the mana base is there because there are Secret Lair islands. Although you don't cast those, at least you got to be on flavor though.
It's true.
Get like the Secret Lair one that has all the boats on it. I can't remember which one it was. It was the land that was inserted into one. I think it's my favorite Secret Lair land aside from the full text one.
Yeah,
but maybe splurge on like 30 full text islands.
Yeah, there you go. Just get them all, and I'm sure it won't be too expensive.
It'll be very affordable and not expensive.
Yeah, let's talk about another dice rolling card that's not in red blue, unfortunately, and that's Karis and the Beholder. This is a 5 mana Dragon Eye Wizard for 1 green, white. You get a 1 power, 20 toughness flyer. It says when Karis and the Beholder enters the battlefield and at the beginning of your upkeep, create a 1/1 white human creature token and make a charisma check. You roll a d20 in order to do so.
Yeah, for D&D for D&D non-D&D players, that's what you're doing there. It's rolling that you're having a charisma check.
Yeah, pretty much anytime you're rolling
you're doing
your
check.
Your charisma is being tested by something in the game, and you are rolling to see if you're successful. For this instance, if the result plus the number of creatures you control is greater than 11, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. If the result is a natural 20, for each non-legendary creature you control, create a token that's a copy of that creature. So green-white token, go wide strategy seems the way to go.
Cigar to Humans is thrilled.
Yeah.
It's a Dragon Eye Wizard, and I talk about eyes quite a bit when you can name something. But I run a lot of non-legendary creatures in that Humans deck. There's quite a few legendaries. Well, I'd have to figure out the spread, but if I can make a copy of all of them, they all usually do something very good. Either they're a lord or have an ETB ability.
Well, and it's just non-legendary creatures. It doesn't say non-legendary, non-token. So you're going to double up all your token generation on it too. And if you cast Karis and the Beholder while you control 9 creatures, it will enter being your 10th. Actually, if you do it with 8 creatures, it'll enter being your 10th, create the 1/1 being your 11th, and you'll never miss on the +1/+1 counters. Yeah.
This card's cool.
Very cool.
Next is the meanest card, I think, on this list, which is Moto, the Gnarled Oracle. For black, blue, green, you get a legendary zombie elf wizard, and it is a 0/3. But it has Eminence, everybody's favorite commander mechanic.
It's so good.
Because it's just ridiculous. And it has pay X and discard a card. Not tapping it, just pay X and discard a card. Target player reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a creature card with converted mana cost X or less. Put that card onto the battlefield under your control. Then that player shuffles the rest into their library. Activate this only if Moto, the Gnarled Oracle, is on the battlefield or in the command zone. So at any time.
Yeah, instant speed.
Unless someone exiles it and you say, all right, it can go to exile. Or it could just go to the graveyard.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to do that, but
no,
it's very good. And I would try it, but we've tried to resolve cards like Villainous Wealth over Spell Table, and that was quite the nightmare.
Mhm.
This is just resolving essentially a baby villainous wealth, a baby cascade villainous wealth almost.
Yes.
From yep.
Repeatable though.
Yeah, like could be if you can make so much mana, infinite mana, you just.
And it's Sultai. It's so hard to make infinite mana in the Sultai colors. So you don't know if it's ever going to happen. And it's turn 2 and you're winning the game by putting every creature from all of your opponent's libraries onto your battlefield.
The real answer for which one is the strongest of all of these is
This is the
this
strongest.
one.
It's not even close.
For sure.
Yeah. You don't even have to build your deck with creatures. All you have to build your deck is rocks and ways to go infinite in your mana, and then you win the game.
And you just play your opponent's decks.
You could
what you put in here.
This is the perfect example of building a deck that has no win condition, and you could still win with it.
Yes.
This is the only example.
Put
win conditions in your deck.
Okay.
Next up, we have our first vehicle. I think our only vehicle on this list. This is Mountain Mover. For 2 and a red, you get a 5/3 artifact vehicle with flying and haste. It says whenever Mountain Mover enters the battlefield or attacks, put a mountain card from outside the game underneath it. When Mountain Mover leaves the battlefield, put all cards underneath it onto the battlefield with crew of 3. So this is, at its base, it's a mono red ramp, and it's not thinning your deck, which is unfortunate.
It's winning your deck.
No. Deck thinning's deck winning. This is not deck winning, but it could still be game winning because this is really good ramp in red. The vehicle has haste, so you're going to be able to get the attack trigger the first turn you cast it, as long as you have something that can crew it. So you have 2 mountains underneath it. The mountains come in untapped. It technically doesn't say basic mountains, but it says mountain card, so I assume it means the card mountain and not like I'm going to go get all these dual lands and stuff, my volcanic island and all that kind of stuff.
It does say a mountain card.
Yes.
So those are mountains. It doesn't say basic mountain.
But it doesn't say a mountain land. It says a mountain card, which could be, I don't know how that rule, I don't know how.
Well, there are no lands that are mountains layer, I guess is what I'm saying, like layer or
fair.
gate. They're not mountains. So I would just say you can get anything that has the word mountain.
This
will never do it. But, and there's no rulings on these cards, but I guarantee that I would say if someone wants to go grab themselves a dual land that has the word mountain on it, they're going to be able to get it with this.
And the LGS is going to be happy about that one too, because they just sold a dual land.
Yeah, I'm going to go get it. All right. Mintasha Honored One, a 3/3 legendary snow creature elk for 2 green. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may open a sealed magic booster pack and put the cards on the bottom of your booster pile in a random order. And then it says, spells you cast have booster cascade. And then the ruling, the reminder text here is, it's like Cascade, but you use your booster pile rather than your library. So you're just going to open packs when you cast your commander. So you constantly want to cast your commanders. You can open packs because I just love opening packs. But then you cascade into cards from the packs you just opened. So that's really fun. So what pack are we opening?
So when I was going through the list in my head, I was like, I don't want to open packs that have rare land cycles because you can't cascade into lands. But then immediately afterward, I was like, but Modern Horizons 2 has such good value. Why would I not pick Modern Horizons 2 every time? Because they do have the fetch lands in there. It's going to take up a couple slots, some other lands. So Double Masters. Double Masters has 2 rares or 2 mythics in every single pack. So that's some really good value that you're guaranteed to get, 2 pieces that are probably good in your game. Double Masters has some whiffs, but
every set does.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to open Jumpstart though, because Jumpstart packs always, well, not always, but they have a chance at getting 2 rares as well, or a rare and a mythic. And we're going to hope we get the elf pack. And we're going to flip into a booster cascade Crater Hoof.
I do like the fact that this is a mono green commander that is more than likely casting cards of every color on there.
Yeah, because you're just casting for free when you cast your commander.
It's very cool.
I guess the thing is, maybe Crater Hoof is a bad hope. But there are some else because I'll never hit it because Mintasha is 4 mana value. I got to find low mana value bomb rares.
Yes, and then open that. It probably Double Masters.
Oko.
Oh yeah,
from the Throne of Eldraine.
I put Oko. I put Oko back in a deck over.
That's okay.
Recently.
I'm happy for you.
Okay,
that's very
cool.
good. That's very good. Mintasha's, I think, one of the more interesting of these.
Definitely.
In that it does something that no other card does at all. Some of these have had things that we can do just with a different flavor or a stronger flavor. This one, we don't cascade into boosters.
No.
It's a very silver border mechanic added to this.
But it's all black border, so it's legal.
It's legal
long as
if
you have
this card.
So next up, we have a 5-color creature. This is Nira Hellkite Duelist. For white, blue, black, red, and green, you get a 6/6 legendary creature dragon with flash, flying, trample, and haste. And when Nira Hellkite Duelist enters the battlefield, the next time you would lose the game this turn, instead draw 3 cards and your life total becomes 5. No big deal. It's just, it's a non-split second way of just not losing the game every single time that you would lose the game. And with a nice sacrifice outlet that you have, maybe a food chain or something, you can just sacrifice it next time someone tries to make you lose the game. It's got flash speed and you just flash right back out. I'll take 3 more cards. Thank you very much.
This is by far the strongest 5-color dragon commander in existence.
It's got all the keywords except indestructible, and I'm sure we don't even care about that because we want it to die so we can recast it later.
Yeah, not losing the game is really good.
Yeah, we'll just add nauseum to like -20. It's fine.
All right, so the OG, not the OG. I don't actually know when the Hasbro version of a Transformer came out, because there's a version of a Transformer card in one of those as well.
San Diego Comic-Con.
Is it a San Diego Comic-Con? It might be that. But this card is Optimus Prime Inspiring Leader. So they is not what meets the eyes.
No.
It is a 4/5 legendary artifact creature Autobot. So this one is an Autobot, and it has pay 1, turn target permanent you control to its other face, and pay 1 until end of turn. Optimus Prime Inspiring Leader becomes a construct with base power and toughness 6/6, and creatures you control gain trample. It's a wonderful commander, and the flavor text is roll out. I think when this was printed, probably some of the stronger things you could do is dealing with morph cards. Werewolves.
It's not
green,
quite
white.
in the right colors.
It's
for
not
werewolves.
quite, but it works with the new Transformer cards. RC, we already mentioned, would work with this because you can just flip the card to its other face. So fun commander.
Yeah, the card does actually technically have a back to it, but it's not a Magic card. I don't know what game it's from. Maybe Transformers has their own trading card game, but don't flip it in a game of Magic. Don't flip itself in a game of Magic. It doesn't work, as far as I can tell.
Okay.
All right, we have Soul Advocate Eternal, which might be the funnest card for us commander brewers out there. This is a legendary creature Dragon Angel 4/4 with legendary partner. You can have 2 commanders if this is one of them, and the other one is promoted to legendary. It has flying and vigilance and teamwork. Whenever you attack or block with Soul Advocate Eternal and its partner, support 4 and investigate 4 times. I'm personally not interested at all with attacking with my other commander with this, and I'm looking forward to just expanding the colors of commander decks that I already have into 4-color decks. Like, I've always wanted a Golgari She-Ray deck, and now I can have a 4-color She-Ray deck by making She-Ray partner with it, not taking advantage of the fact that I can pick a non-legendary creature to be a partner.
This card is, I think, the best argument to utilize what creature do you want to add a color to?
Agreed.
So I've talked about it for years, Noyandar getting green, so this would be a 4-color Noyandar. But if I were to add a non-legendary creature, because it says it's promoted to legendary, it doesn't have to be legendary. I'm looking at things like Grey Merchant of Asphodel or something.
So
it's
good.
just or Pontiff of Blight, and I finally get my Extort commander. Or you could even do the little Throw, because that costs 1 mana. You could start extorting early, but I do like the other one that gives all of your creatures extort.
You could pick a colorless commander, and now you have 4 colors for your colorless commander. I didn't even think about that. I was on my head. I was like, oh, Wormcoil Engine could be my commander now.
Okay, Sublime. Is it Sublime Angel or Sublime Archangel? I can't remember the exact name, but the one that says all creatures you control have exalted.
Oh,
that's really strong too.
That would
be
be
a very fun 4-color exalted deck, because
yeah.
you just play out. I would play that as a token deck. A green-white token deck that is promoted to legendary. It just knocks somebody out in one hit.
That would be really cool.
If you have 10 creatures or 12 creatures, they all have Exalted.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here for it.
The Peregrine Dynamo, printed in Dominaria United, that copies triggers from legendary permanents that aren't your commander. Now you have 4 colors, 4-color legendary, 4-color planeswalkers, because it's legendary permanents, not just creatures. I like it. This might be my favorite, even if it isn't the most powerful. It might be the most powerful though, just from a brewer's standpoint.
Maybe okay. So maybe every single one we continue to say is just more powerful.
It's just this one's more powerful.
All right, the Cinematic Phoenix is a 4/4 legendary creature Phoenix for 3 a black and a red. I do like this black-red Phoenix that we continue to see.
Mm-hmm.
This one has flying, haste, and protection from red, and it has pay 1, tap it, return target legendary creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. So Reanimator. Black, red, that's great. And then it has tap 6 untapped creatures you control. Return the Cinematic Phoenix from your graveyard to the battlefield. If you tapped 6 legendary creatures this way, you win the game.
Oh.
So we have an alternate win con here on a strategy that is tried and true.
Mm-hmm.
Just black, red, Reanimator. I maybe would add white and play Mardu, because then you also have synergy with Primeval's Glorious Rebirth, just for synergy. I just like alt win con cards. I would Chainer Nightmare Adept or Chainer.
Yeah, Nightmare Adept.
The black red one.
Yeah, Nightmare Adept. Yeah, it's
that's
Dementia Master.
Dementia Master. Yeah, I mean, it seems like a solid card to either put in it or just essentially play the same deck as the Chainer deck, but just make all your creatures legendary.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, if you're playing like a 5-color legendary deck, like I would even consider putting this into Morophon, and then like just play like an Entomb type effect. And as soon as I have 6 legendary creatures on the battlefield, entomb it to the graveyard and attempt to win the game by reanimating it. Because all you have to do is tap 6 legendary creatures and you win.
In a cinematic way.
In a very cinematic way. That's a good point.
It's a story arc.
Yeah, winning like that is very cinematic. Yeah, I like that a lot. Cinematic Phoenix. Make it eternal legal for everybody. We have a saga here, which is not our only saga on the list, but the first one, Legend of Arena. For 1, a blue, a red, and a white, you get a saga that says the Legend of Arena can be your commander. On ticks 1 and 2, you create a 2/1 red human wizard creature token. Spells you cast at turn cost 1 generic less to cast for each wizard you control. And on tick number 3 of the saga, this one doesn't have read ahead, unfortunately. But search your library for a Planeswalker card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. It enters with an additional loyalty counter on it for each wizard you control. Okay, so a saga right off the bat that can be your commander is awesome, because you can recast it every 3 turns.
Cool. That's very cool.
But I think, Andy, you noted that this is probably going to be in a Planeswalker deck, a Super Friends deck.
I
some
think
wizard,
so.
Hopefully a little bit of wizard theme to it as well, so that you're not just dependent on the token creation from ticks 1 and 2 to get your Planeswalkers out with a bit more loyalty. Because I was thinking if you had 3 wizards, you could search for Ugin, the 7-mana Ugin.
You could.
And then it comes in with 3 extra loyalty, which puts it up to 10. So you can ultimate Ugin right away and draw 7 and put 7 permanents on the battlefield and gain 7 life, which to me is like the main thing that I want to do when I play my Planeswalkers deck. Is emblem or ultimate one of those giant, super awesome Planeswalkers.
Yeah. What Planeswalker would you grab?
That's what I think, Ugin.
You're just grabbing Ugin. That's what
Ugin
you want.
with 3 wizards, or I don't know, anyone that I can ultimate. There's probably some Tezzerets I can grab. Actually, Tezzeret to just go fetch the Chain Veil right away. Tezzeret the Seeker is probably a pretty good thing to do. It'll come in with extra loyalty, so it won't kill itself by minusing 4 to get the Chain Veil.
I really like the cards that come in the Planeswalkers that came in like those Planeswalker precons. The Planeswalker decks,
Mm-hmm.
like they just don't see, they never really see any play, but some of them are actually very good. Like Railcaller Storms, -7 is draw 7 cards and it deals 7 damage to each creature your opponents control.
Mm-hmm.
So your ultimate of the Legend of Arena is like also a board wipe then.
Yeah, one of the Teferis in those is like a -9 to take 2 extra turns or something like that. So
one of the Chandras, I think it was a Chandra. Yeah, one of them becomes a wheel into Omniscience till end of turn.
Oh, wow.
It's a card, and it's legal in it's legal in Commander. It's run in my Planeswalker deck, and it's really, really strong.
Okay. That's interesting.
That's what I would grab there.
Yeah, any Teferi that you want, you can grab in here too. In this color, in Jeskai colors, there's lots and lots of options.
If you're looking just at Jeskai Planeswalkers in general, there's 136 that you can play. The one is Chandra Flames Catalyst, and I believe that this is it has an M21 symbol, but I think it's from an M21 Planeswalker deck. But it has discard your hand, draw 7 until end of turn. You may cast spells from your hand without paying them. So a -8 for that, and it comes in at 5. So it's a Wheel of Fortune for yourself, and then Omniscience.
That's really good. I know there is a Johnny Steadfast has an emblem at -7 that says if any damage would be dealt to you or planeswalkers you control, that damage is reduced to 1.
That's really good too.
And then if you play Dejuru with Eyes Open, that reduces all damage dealt to your planeswalkers by 1. So you can have immortal planeswalkers that way. So maybe that's what you want to do. There's, like we said, there's tons of options. The next one here is the Secret Lair. It is a legendary land, and it is a lair. Tap to add a colorless, and tap, say the secret word. Add 1 mana of any color, scry 1, and you gain 1 life. This just reminds me of the game Password. It's like, the secret word is banana. And then they have to get the other person to guess it. It's got a peel. It's yellow. It's a fruit.
Do you remember the SNL skit with Kristen Wiig, and she plays a character who just can't not give away the words? It's really funny. Anyway, what secret word?
I say that's the weird.
Do I go with?
Here's the weird part. It doesn't say when the secret lair enters the battlefield, choose a secret word. So you have to know what the secret word is.
I think maybe the person who was given the secret lair is also given the secret word.
They're the only person that has
That'd be actually what a wild. I'm going to have to tweet about this and find out what is the secret word.
Otherwise, this is just a colorless legendary land that would still probably be pretty good in Niambi. It's a legendary land.
Oh, for sure. I'm discarding this legendary land to draw 2 cards, not even playing it, because I need blue and white mana,
That's
not
right.
Colorless, unless someone tells me what the secret word is.
Yeah, because then it would be a very useful land that goes in literally everything.
In literally everything. This one, the next card, by the way, has the best art of all of
It
these.
does. I do think the next one is probably, it might, other than Dungeon Master. Dungeon Master might be the weakest card on this list. This might be the second weakest in my opinion. It can still be very, I'm not saying it's weak though. It's still strong.
I don't know. I'm thinking that Optimus Prime Inspiring Leader is not doing much for me.
It turns into a 6/6. It's a beater. It's great. All right. So the last card we have on our list here is another saga called War of the Spark. For 3 and a black, you get a saga that the first pip says each player may put a planeswalker or zombie card from War of the Spark from their hand or graveyard onto the battlefield. For 2, you can sacrifice any number of creatures and or planeswalkers. Each opponent sacrifices that many creatures and or planeswalkers. And for 3, exile up to 1 target bolus. Proliferate 3 times.
This is a War of the Spark themed saga.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I love that set, and it's a stained glass art. You can actually get this. I believe you can get this as like a like one of those like wall banners.
Oh,
and
sure.
You can get the art like as a print. It's gorgeous. It's got the Amonkhet, the what are those called?
The Lazotep.
The Lazotep plated, zombies versus a bunch of planeswalkers with Bolas in the background here. I would play all of the planeswalkers from War of the Spark. I mean, you could make a War of the Spark deck pretty easy. The set actually all synergizes very well with each other, with itself. There's so much proliferate in that deck and stuff too.
Yeah, I mean, and I used to have a Nicol Bolas deck, a commander deck that was all about planeswalkers that probably played all the mythics at the very least from War of the Spark. Those planeswalkers, the Liliana, the Nicol Bolas, and then the uncommon ones. It played Narset. That's from War of the Spark.
Yeah, super friendly. We love Narset. Super nice. Couldn't play Teferi.
Yeah, I don't know if I would really take advantage of the first pip on this saga a lot, but that third pip is so ridiculously strong. Exile up to 1 target bolus and then proliferate 3 times. This could be a bolus creature or a bolus planeswalker. And just proliferating 3 times might as well be a deep glow skate in a lot of cases, double the number of counters on any number of target permanents you control, so that you can ultimate your planeswalker and go to town with a simple, I mean, you have to wait 3 turns to get there. So there's a lot of prep work and everyone has a chance to stop you from what you're doing. But also that's very on theme for the War of the Spark.
Yeah, and you can play a 5-color deck in War of the Spark because you've got Niv Mizzet Reborn. So you have a 5-color commander that that can lead that deck.
Definitely.
But then this isn't from War of the Spark, but it's called War of the Spark. You said the name
That's
of the
true.
movie.
Oh,
You say the name of the game.
You
right?
said the name of the movie, but in the sequel, not in the first movie. Though.
This is the flashback.
Yeah.
We're reliving it.
Yeah, so that we can include the name of the
We're
movie.
LARPing it so that we can play War of the Spark. That's what's happening.
It's
here.
perfect.
So these cards are great. That's actually going to be the end of our episode, but I would love to own one of these.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun.
I don't know how many of these are even printed, but they're for special promotions and for awesome things that come out. So I think it's really cool that that's how some teammates are rewarded, for doing something great. I mean, we see Arena here. We had Booster Fun, things like Collecticle and Champions of Archery, just lots of really unique things. Secret Lair, the team given Keeper, the Secret Lair, Commander teams, and
a Booster Cascade. And...
oh gosh, yeah, promoting. We have two different options of adding a creature. One is a legendary creature from your hand to the command zone. The other is just pick one and it can start as.
We're even adding mountains in the case of Mountain Mover from outside the game.
You just add mountains. So this was great. This was great. But that's going to be it for this week. If you want to chat with me online, you can find me on Twitter at Andy Flory.
And you can find me on Twitter at WormCoilEngine. And of course, all you listeners out there, thank you so much for getting all the way to the end of this episode. And we'll talk to you next week.